Well, Jay, the atmosphere here was unlike anything I've ever seen before. From the second the team ran down the hill and took the field, this place was louder than I've ever heard. And as soon as that game was over, crews got to work right away, ripping up the court, making sure everything was ready to get this ice laid down. A lot still going on here today. You can see over here, they're cutting up plexiglass to put up on the boards. Over on this side, they're putting in the penalty boxes. Here at the Carrier Dome, where they've taken up Jim Boeheim Court and laid down the NCAA logo for tonight's Sweet 16 matchups. The Nets are no more here in the Carrier Dome as Michigan State tops Louisville in an overtime thriller, 76-70. Another Duke game, another record crowd here in the Dome, but not another win for the Orange. Next up for the Orange is a much-needed bye week. Sean Hickey said he hopes the team can take 4 or 5 days to take their mind off the loss, get healthy again, and get back on the field in 2 weeks when they'll head down to Pittsburgh. And I'm Katy Williams, live from the Carrier Dome. Coming up in sports, Syracuse has a huge comeback win against the Virginia Tech Hokies. We've got all your post-game reaction and more. For the second time in 3 years, Syracuse found itself in the national championship. And for the second time, they weren't the team celebrating. The offensive struggles continued for the Orange on Saturday as they only ended up here in the end zone once in a 30-7 loss to the Pitt Panthers. An extra period, an extra frame, and some extra wins for DC sports fans. Good evening, I'm Katy Williams. For only the 6th time ever, 2 DC teams played postseason ball on the same night and made some history along the way. The night starts off with hockey up in Long Island. The Islanders lead the Caps 2-1 in the first round series. But tonight, Alex Ovechkin will get the Caps on the board first with that goal. Take another look at this. Look at that deflection. I'm not sure how he got that one in. Caps lead 1-0. But then, as the first period's closing out, Casey Cizikas puts the Islanders on the board. So now we're tied at 1, and that would remain the score until overtime for the second straight game of this series, and Nicholas Backstrom gets the game winner. What a nice shot. Caps tie the series up 2-2. They'll be playing in D.C. on Thursday. Now some more playoff action, this time up in Toronto. Wizards and Raptors game 2. The Wiz get off to a slow start, but Bradley Beal absolutely takes over in the second quarter. The guard had 16 points in the frame, and the team outscored Toronto 34-18 in the second to secure the halftime lead. Fellow backcourt phenom John Wall recovered from a sluggish game 1 to log 26 points and 17 assists on the night. The Wizards would win this one 117-106 and are up 2-0, with the series coming to D.C. on Friday. So Tuesday marks the first time ever 2 D.C. teams won a playoff game on the same night. Now, there was just one team left to play to make it a true D.C. trifecta. And while it may have just been an April baseball game, the Nationals didn't want to feel left out of the night's developing drama. We're going to start in the bottom of the 9th. Drew Storn in to close the 1-0 game, but Matt Holliday gets the single, scoring Matt Carpenter from third, and so now we're tied at 1. Bottom of the 9th, Jason Worth has the bases loaded. Great chance for the Nats to win, but John Jay, he wanted to see some extra frames with the great catch there, so now we're headed to the 10th, where Yunel Escobar decided it was time to go home. Walk-off home run. Nationals win 2-1 in extras. And while the Redskins aren't in season, we now know when they'll be playing once they are. Taking a first look at that schedule, the Skins start the season with 3 out of 4 at home in FedEx Field. Then some tough road tests at Atlanta and New York before a Week 8 bye and a trip to see the reigning Super Bowl champions in New England. Next, Washington gets a pair of NFC South matchups, and then here's where things could get tricky. 3 of the Redskins' final 4 games are on the road, and the final 2 games of the season at NFC East rivals Philly and Dallas. That's your check of sports. I'm Katy Williams. Last October, residents of North Syracuse approved a $2 million facelift to the field and track at CNS. And 1 year later, teams are ready to get back on the turf.
Typically, we'll have a game in the early September, so putting this off a whole month, everybody is biting at the bit to get going.
While teams have had an opportunity this week to break in the new turf, the final unveiling doesn't kick off until Friday.
It's been a long, probably 4 months. We've had to move some teams around the district while the project was going on, so everyone is ready to go, and Friday should be pretty exciting.
For us, it's a chance to get back to the stadium and our locker room and all the things that we were used to last year that we kind of missed the first part of the season.
But the football team won't be the only ones using the facility. Administrators hope the community will enjoy the renovations too.
Having an all year surface, we can get more teams playing and practicing and playing. So we see a big impact to the community.
We wouldn't have it if we didn't have their vote. It's open to the public when the teams aren't on here, so everybody seems to enjoy it when they can.
One impact the community won't see, a financial one. The district has been saving sponsorship money since the stadium was first built and plans to continue to do so. But right now, Bednarski is focused on enjoying the facility.
There are some nice high school facilities around here, but I would say probably this is the nicest in the state of New York.
I think if you're a kid that dreams about playing high school football on Friday nights, this is certainly an environment I'd want to play in.
All that's left to do now is officially reopen the stadium. There will be a ribbon cutting on Friday before the North Stars play Henniger in their homecoming game. Katy Williams, NCC News. Graduating from Syracuse provided goalie Dominic Lamolinera an opportunity to realize a different dream. When the season starts on Saturday, the grad student will be on the sidelines, but this time as an assistant coach. I caught up with him earlier this week to learn more about the transition. For Dominic Lamolinera, 4 years just wasn't enough, and head coach John Desko has been impressed with his performance so far.
The fact that he's able to recognize what the goalies are doing in their save and their technique, and I think just the way he's dealing with the athletes, he's way ahead of where I see a lot of guys that come out and try to coach right away.
Lamolinera first discovered his passion for coaching in college when he helped with lacrosse camps during his summers. But he says that the transition this season has been quite the learning curve.
There's a lot. I'm working with Coach Desko, Coach Donahue, two of the most knowledgeable lacrosse minds that I've ever met. And, I'm just asking a lot of questions.
Most of the players Lamo is now coaching were his teammates just last year, and that relationship still impacts how he coaches.
They definitely view me as more of a coach than a teammate as last year, but at the same time, I'm still friends with a lot of these guys. I hang out with them on the weekends, but not a whole lot's changed other than the 2 hours a day of practice.
Me and him have been pretty close the past couple of years and stuff, and last year we really helped and worked together with each other, and so I really like having him back this year.
Another thing that he'll have to get used to, not taking the field on game days. Lamolinera thinks he'll be prepared for that new experience come Saturday.
It'll be different, I'm not necessarily afraid of it, but at the same time I would love to be playing again. It's something I have to get used to.
And while there may be some nerves, it's clear the former goalie is coming into his own on the sideline.
He can get pretty fired up sometimes, and he's not afraid to get in your face if you're doing something wrong, which is definitely a good thing. And he's just a really good motivator.
I feel like I found a passion for it, and I always wanted to have a job that I was passionate about, that I wanted to wake up for and go to every single day. And I think coaching's really the only thing. I have fun doing it every day. It's the highlight of my day, even though I'm not playing anymore. So I feel like that's a good sign as to what I should do with my career.
It'll be a season full of new experiences for Dominic Lamolinera, but also one that he hopes will help him build a future career. When I spoke with Coach Desko, he said that he thinks Lamolinera has the potential to develop into a great coach in the future. Syracuse opens the season on Saturday in the Carrier Dome against Siena. We'll have your full check of sports at 4:45. Back to you guys.